Wednesday, the 23rd of June, and lovely weather once again. So, I thought, what am I going to talk to you about today? Well, it's funny how things just happen, isn't it? So, last year, if you might remember, on one of my midweek reflections, I spoke about trees, about the fact that you can hug a tree and it's supposed to have a calming influence, or you can sit under a tree, it gives you shade, you can lean against it and you can feel the vibrations and the hum of the tree. So we talked about trees, and I walked about the man's garden and videoed the trees. So in the last couple of weeks in the church, trees have actually played quite a big part of what's going on in East and Old, believe it or not. As you know, well, you may, but most of you will know that we are an eco congregation. We have been awarded numerous awards for what we do in the church, about the environment, about recycling, carbon emissions, the planting of bee-friendly things, recycling, the whole kit and caboodle. So we have our silver award and we're working towards our gold, but that is just a little bit more difficult. There's a bit more things to do for that. And then, talking of the environment and everything else to do with eco congregation, we applied for a grant a few months ago from Keep Scotland Beautiful, and we were very fortunate to be awarded that money, and it was a few £1,000s that we got. So if you're around the back of the church, please have a look, because we have got new containers filled with soil. We're planting fruit trees. We're doing lots of different things. We've got a little club running for children or families, whoever want to come along, every second Sunday afternoon at 2:30, and learning how to grow fruit and vegetables. And it will be open to the community also, just to take what they would like when everything is ripe and ready to be picked. So it's like a community garden at the back of the church. So we're really thankful to Keep Scotland Beautiful for that, and to the Green team, but especially Heather for everything she has done in organising this. And it's looking good. So please have a look at the back of the church. Also, with the environment, we decided with our friends in Zuglo in Hungary that we would hold a Bible study, a joint Bible study. And because we are trying to promote with them about the environment, about eco-congregation, because Hungary now have eco-congregations, we thought we would do a Bible study on creation and, why we've been commanded to look after all of creation. So we thought we would just start relatively easy. And what we did was we were really speaking about the book of Psalms, and we started off with that, talking about songs, singing, because of course the Psalms have got lots of hymns related to them. And we said, can you name some hymns from their hymn book which speaks about creation? And then our lot rattled off quite a few from our hymn book, which is much more fuller than what the Hungarians have. And of course, one of the ones is, for me, when I think about trees, is "O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder." And then there's a verse in there about wandering through the forest glades. And that got me thinking of the trees again. So we're talking about creation with our friends in Hungary. We're talking about the hymn, about the forest glades I wander, through the forest glades I wander. And I was brought up with our friends in Hungary and with our own people, the fact that we had already spoken about trees and how they communicate with each other, but we can get different feelings from trees also. And Mihai in Hungary, he said that there was a very famous book, I think it brought out just a few years ago, all about trees and the benefits of them and the communications of them. And he said he would try and find what it was called for us. So the very next day, so thank you, Mihai, the very next day in my emails came the name of the book and the author. So I bought it. There we go. That's it here. So it's the summary. It's not the whole book. This is the summary book of the hidden life of trees. What do they feel? How they communicate, and discoveries from a secret world. Whoa! So you can see that's just a summary of the book. It's not terribly long. Gives you a snapshot of the tree life, and only took me probably 40 minutes to read. What I found interesting in the book was it talks of a sense of time, because as we all know, trees take a long time to grow. And of course, they always head up the way, don't they? Trees always go up. The book also talks about the biodiversity. It also talks about how trees go through turbulent times. Well, all of that there, relates to humans as well, because we all go through turbulent times. And it talks, about the turbulent times of trees, from the roots and then branches and then the weather and then in the infections trees can get as well. So it was very interesting. It then talks about immigrants, about trees, of course, that are not indigenous to our own land or to any land, and they get brought in. And sometimes they can take over, sometimes they're not good. And that brought me back to a story when we were in Madeira a few years ago, and they were talking about a certain tree was brought into Madeira that shouldn't be there, and they're trying to eradicate it at this present time because it's really not good for the island. So I remembered that when I was reading that as well. But the one thing that got it for me was this sense of time and what a slow pace of life trees have. And it's something I think we can all do well to remember. So yeah, I liked this book. So it was all about trees. Absolutely wonderful. And the reason the trees have become quite important within East and Old is because I was watching the programme Countryfile. And of course, they're doing a campaign this year all about growing more trees. They want everybody to plant as many trees as they can, whether it be in individual gardens, whether it be in small areas or larger areas, or support all the different trusts, like maybe the Woodland Trust or something, because they're always looking for money for more trees to be planted. So I thought, right, is that something we could get involved in as a church? Because it would certainly help the environment. It would help our eco-congregation, just the part that we are that, and that's something we could use towards that. So I spoke to our green team, and yes, they thought it was a great idea as well. We looked at, we're going to approach individuals in our church and ask them if they would like a tree for their garden. We then thought, right, what else can we do? So we thought, I wonder if anybody has any spare ground, whether it be farmers, the council. We thought, why not? Or we'll contact all the trusts that deal with woodlands and see if they have any spare land or what we can do. So we've been given a whole range of stuff that we can do. We can donate money and have a wood planted somewhere in Scotland on our behalf, or we can try and find land here in Forfar, or just individuals. So there's a whole range of stuff. So Heather set up a meeting which I attended on Monday morning, and there was myself, there was Heather, who's our green team convener, Karen from the council, who looks after all the cemeteries and parks and things, Braden Davey, one of the local councillors, Derek from Angus Alive, and Fred, who is the tree officer for Angus Council. Didn't know we had one, but he has a very, very important job. But did you know, for example, we have to cut down trees in Forfar, like every council area, which are getting really old and maybe becoming unstable, infected or dangerous. And they have to replace these, but it costs a lot of money. And really the council can't afford to do it. So if you've ever wanted a tree planted, speak to Fred so that he can give him the money and he'll replant the trees. So we also identified areas in Forfar that the council are planning to turn into woodland areas. Small ones, bigger ones, there's a whole range of stuff. Councillor Davey came up with a good idea about the Common Good Fund in Forfar. They own land, that, sometimes they don't know what to do with it. They may have some funds that they can give us to buy more trees. Speaking to the community, spoken to our friends at Lowson Church and St Margaret's Church to see if they'd be interested in doing this tree event, if we can get an area to plant them. And then I thought, well, why not dedicate the whole new area to this period of time in history that will always be now in history, the COVID era. I think that's probably what it would be called, the COVID era, and dedicate it in memory of those who have, people who have died, people who have long COVID, and also are all these frontline workers, from the NHS to the shop staff to the bin men, whoever it may be. And yeah, I think that would be good to be able to do that. So then the council were saying, well, we could plan a walkway through it if we can get the land and get enough trees. And the Woodland Trust has lots of options. So it's all very exciting just now. We're at the very early planning stages and we hope to develop that more. So all of this has just happened from a conversation that we had about God's creation a few weeks ago, and then speaking to our friends in Hungary. So I don't believe in coincidences. I don't think things just happen by chance. I really don't. I believe God has a plan. And this is his plan for us at the moment, is to develop this idea of the trees. It helps the environment, gives us a place for a memorial, a remembrance, and it's a win-win situation all round. But we just have to get the land and get some more money, because the Woodland Trust will give us some trees, but we have to buy more. So it's all early stages. So that's just from thinking about trees and thinking about God's environment. So I'm going to finish just to read this hymn to you. This one's from Mission Praise, and it's I Do Not Know What Lies Ahead. And there's one bit in it I want to refer to. It's actually in the chorus, okay? But I'll read you the first verse first. I do not know what lies ahead, the way I cannot see. Yet one stands near to be my guide. He'll show me the way to me. Sorry, he'll show the way to me. Now this is the chorus. I know who holds the future, and with God I'll start again. I know who holds the future, and he'll guide me with his hand. With God things don't just happen. Everything by him is planned. So as I face tomorrow, with its problems large and small, I'll trust the God of miracles, give to him my all. Things don't just happen by chance. So I hope that you will think about trees for me, whether you can plant one in your garden or somebody's garden, maybe a family member. And we will be giving you the types of trees, because there's various types that you have to plant, because that's what the Woodlands Trust would like us to do. And for a wooded area, you can't just plant it any old place. It has to be planted in a certain area, because there's lots involved in that also. So if it's not just an individual tree, maybe you'll come to the collective one and we can work together to build this in memory of this particular era that we have lived in. Things don't just happen by chance. God has a plan. God bless everyone.